What's up, gentlemen?
Man, it's another Thursday night.
Another Thursday night. Tony Lawrence, how are you, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh man, I literally couldn't be more excited to have this conversation. It's like kind of like crazy. And Tony and I have a weekly stand up, right? So earlier this week, he's like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to Thursday." I'm like, "Oh, cool. What's happening on Thursday?" and I was like, "Oh shit, that's you on Thursday. That's fucking awesome." Like I was like, and then I got so excited. I've been thinking about it ever since. Yeah. So we're going to get into this the same way we get into everything, but just to kind of set a stage here, man. Tony, you and I work in quantum together, and Tony's fucking awesome, and he can't wait to hear everything about quantum. But everything up until this point in my life has been very siloed. Like there's this, and then there's that, and then there's this. And this is like one of a couple times now that Tony and I get to bring what we're playing with in the quantum space into other spaces in my life. And it's super cool to be able, and this one in particular, Tom, your head's going to fucking melt. It's amazing.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, like, all right.
Because my mental health is not fucked up enough. Let's keep going.
Tony, get us into the story, man. How'd you get here? What, I mean, quantum computers is a fucking niche thing to say the least, dude. Like, I mean, not even, real niche. There's niche, and then there's this, like, you know.
So let's start at the beginning. So I was recruited by the National Security Agency, the NSA, America's premier spy organization, right alongside the CIA, when I was 17 years old. So I took a test, and next thing you know, I'm in the Army, I'm working in this super classified facility over at Fort Meade, Maryland. While working for NSA, did a lot of cool things with cybersecurity. The interesting thing about cybersecurity is when things first started, we were tracking targets on the other side of the world. So we were using their computers, we were using their cell phones, and we were tracking their activities, their bad activities, and their location. And we would actually know everything about our targets' lives here at Fort Meade, here in Maryland, close to DC. And these targets are in Iraq, they're in Afghanistan, somewhere in North Korea, all over that area of the world. But here in the United States, we had complete control, and we can see everything that they were doing. So I became an expert at this. I actually deployed to Iraq.
Wait, Tony. I think. Can I? I'm not trying to cut you off here.
It's been 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
At fucking 17, like, what were you doing before that? Where you're like, let's go take a test and work for the NSA. Like, that's not like a, hey, I got a few years until I get to college. That is like, you jumped Q there, man. What was your childhood like where you're like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna work with spies?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, man. I gotta know that. Like, what was like? Because there's something before. Like, I'm gonna go take a test.
No. It's I had an interesting childhood. Moved around a lot. I was underprivileged. Lived in housing projects and things of that nature. But I was always reading. My parents, even though we didn't have a lot of money, my parents did their best to cultivate me, my mind. They would bring me books. They even sent me, they scrapped together every penny they had. And they sent me to military school when I was in 9th grade. So military school was very helpful. This is a military school called Randolph-Macon Academy in Virginia. And I lived there. It was a boarding school. It was a special program. I went in 9th grade. And by 11th grade, I was in the real Army.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. It's not like, hey, I was sitting in my room staring at a wall going, you know what? Joining the NSA.
You know what? When I was 15, do you remember that like get into art school thing where it says draw Jiminy Cricket here and mail it in and you'll see if you get into art school? That's what I did when I was like 15. I drew the stupid cricket and mailed it in.
I think I was still getting frustrated by Mario Brothers. Yeah. like honestly, I was like, this fucking game.
Matt as a stoner at 15, 16 years old. I see you.
When the first time I ever smoked weed was my senior year of high school, and I didn't smoke weed again until I was in college. Like I am shocked. Yeah, it's you know what? Knowing what I know about like neuroscience and cannabis now, I'm actually super glad that that's how that went down, because I enjoy a great deal of cognitive flexibility that I think came because I wasn't smoking a ton of weed when I was 15. You know what I mean? Like I know that sounds a little woo woo, but
look, man, I know a dude that was a stoner. Probably he got into it his junior year. He's a fucking volcanologist. I'm like, what does he do? Oh yeah, Clay. He goes in Hawaii. Looks inside the volcano and tells people what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm like,
there's that.
He was all AP, right? Yeah. Like he was extremely intelligent. It was very weird.
Yeah. So Tony, obviously you're front of the pack here. Obviously, they're not just giving out.
They had to see some aptitude there, where they're like, you got to sit for this.
They're not giving out front backstage passes.
You're not getting that invite if they're like, yeah, we're on the fence about this one.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was really fortunate. I did well on the test. They had aptitude tests. They brought the test into my high school, and I wasn't the only
wow
that took them. Other people took them. A few of my friends from high school deployed at the same time I deployed. Unfortunately, a few of them died. I have a good friend named he passed away in Iraq by IED explosion. So it was very interesting, and many of them joined because I joined. Right, they saw me going through the program as a junior, came back as a senior, and I was talking and mentoring other students at the high school, and many of them joined the military as well. But I still support Doug's family. There's a great nonprofit, the Doug Green Foundation. Please donate. Oh,
cool. We'll definitely put that in the show.
Definitely make that in show notes. Yeah.
So, I mean, so you're in a military school, and funny, I didn't know that about you, but like you're in a military school. I mean, so given the circumstances that you were saying, and the fact that you find yourself in what I would imagine to be a fairly comfortable position by comparison, you're like, no, this is cool. I get to use my brain. I get to do cool shit. Is that kind of, am I in the neighborhood? Like,
yeah, and you're kind of cutting edge there. I can imagine. Right. Like, you don't seem like an old dude, but at 17, I don't think the tech was anywhere where it is now,
No. Interestingly enough, the National Security Agency is responsible for a lot of the technology we have today. Even video conferencing, things of this nature, the internet, all these things were pioneered at the National Security Agency. Now, when these technologies are created there, they're classified until somebody in the public sector creates the same technology. Right. So then they work with NSA and they have a program, a commercial.
Oh, cool.
That's interesting.
So you have to earn it, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, I feel like there's a show on TV that tells everybody it's been aliens this whole time.
Yeah.
No, that's aliens too.
No.
But no, that makes sense, right? So you want to keep it classified until somebody discovers it again.
Yes.
And clearly, I want to ask you what don't we know about? But I'm sure you can't. I'm sure you can't tell
Different
us.
podcast.
I have a lot of flexibility when it comes to what I say because of the things I've done at the agency. So let's finish my background, then we'll talk about something.
I'm sorry, man. You just got so many cool things going on.
That means a lot to me. Thank you. So I'm in high school. Joined the Army, 17. Next thing you know, 18, I'm working at the National Security Agency. I'm at NSA. They put me through a really cool school down in Pensacola, Florida. This was signals intelligence school. So here, we would collect signals out of the air, and we would break them out to text. So cell phone calls, radio signals. We would just grab them out of the air with ham radios, and we would break the encryption on these communications and break it out to text and report it. I'm 18 doing this stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm
it's bonkers.
That's crazy,
still bonkers, dude. Yeah.
This story isn't getting less crazy as it goes on.
So around the time,
I think aliens would have been easier.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So around that time frame, the NSA and the CIA, both organizations started looking at internet traffic, wireless traffic, 802.11 signals. And of course, I learned how to break those out by hand. So any wireless signal from any wireless device, we would capture it and break it to text. Break into it, really easy to do, John. It's much simpler than you think because your wireless router is really no different than a two-way walkie-talkie, right? The same technology is being used, right? So, I learned how to export that technology. I spent 3 years in Korea. So from the ages of 18 till about 21, 22-ish, I lived in Korea in Pyeongtaek. And there, I was a Morse code operator.
No way. That feels like a downshift, doesn't it?
Like why are they using that, man?
Yeah. Hold on, let me fax you my resume.
Hang on, I'm gonna let this pigeon go out the window.
Yeah.
So I was a Morse code operator because the North Koreans, that was their primary method of communication, right?
Stop it.
Katie,
Oh my God, that's almost laughable.
I know, but this was around 2005, 2006 time. But yeah, so they had a really amazing, I like their nuclear missile program, right? I'm a fan of it. I've studied it for many, many years. And you might hear about their nuclear missile program or their missile programs in the news. You guys have probably heard about it. So yeah, when I was a kid, I would sit at the desk and I would track the missiles. I would get the signals, I would break the signals, and I'd track the missiles as they tested them and launched them into the ocean. So that's what I did for 3 years. We also captured signals from Russia, from China, and we captured a large amount of unknown signals. Some of these signals were coming from outer space.
The aliens.
There we go.
And you guys, there were signals at NSA that were older than I was. There were signals there that they could not break that were 40 and 50 years old from World War II. They could not break the signals. They don't know
what are they still
and they were
floating around?
Wait, so were these coming from outside sources, or were they coming from another country? Were they like a German code?
Well, many they don't know where they came from. With signals bounce around, right? They bounce around. We try to use direction finding, but when these signals were captured, technology wasn't that advanced. So there's not that much metadata about these things.
Yeah.
But they were there. There's a database. There's an organization I was a part of. It was called the TDC back then, the Technology Development Center. And there we would break signals all day long. So the school I went to, I made it, so the school has three main courses that are 6 months long. So each course is 6 months. I did 2 of the courses. So, which was really advanced. It's like PhD level stuff. So I basically got my PhD in signals development.
Isn't that so aggravating that when properly motivated and with the right resources, the government could teach people the same amount of shit
something extremely high level?
Yeah, it takes somebody to go to like 4 years of college, like, hey,
here
fuck
and
you,
write
I
a
want this
100-paper report on this and then defend it.
Yeah, no, man.
By the way, it's going to be $300,000.
Yeah, no, this is so fucking irritating, man. Like this is why AI is winning because that's what people want to do.
Just it like your story is so freaking crazy.
Well,
and I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface
yet. We're not even warmed
yet.
up yet. The
I
car's
know,
still in the
man.
parking lot.
Keep going. All the crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, no, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So keep going, man.
Right. So I spent time in Pensacola, Florida, at Corey Station, as a signals analyst. Spent 3 years in Korea. Did really good work. Captured a few high priority signals. Stuff went to the White House. I got awards. Came back to the United States. Okay, so when I came back,
you ever heard of Bin Laden? Yeah, wink, wink. No.
We'll talk about Bin Laden too. I'll talk about.
So
I'm like, you got the P tape? You got the P tape?
Oh Jesus Christ!
So yeah, it's interesting because I was just I was always at the right place at the right time. So I get back to Fort Meade. They're starting this thing, cyber warfare battalion, right? They're starting to look into cyber. It wasn't called cyber back then, you guys, right? It was network warfare, information operations.
Yeah.
And I took more tests, and I did very, very well. Of course, because I spent a year of training in Pensacola, Florida. So
sure,
I'm taking this.
You should probably been teaching the course.
Yeah,
right?
you're like a fucking ninja. Yeah, exactly, right.
And I did become a teacher. So I'm there, I take these tests, and the next thing you know, I'm in the counterterrorism division at NSA. Now, I'm still young, you guys. I didn't even know how to write an email, right? I didn't know how to write an email when I got into CT, right? All I knew was just signals,
Sure.
recording. I had never sent an email out before I got into the counterterrorism division at the National Security Agency. So it was crazy. So they teach me, a lot. They teach me a lot, and they teach me about targeting individuals on the other side of the world. They teach me about it's pretty crazy stuff. So so TAO, the Tailored Access Operations Division of NSA, these are the premier hackers in NSA. So I would work with these guys each and every day because I was target centric. And what we would do.
So they use you to target, then they do their witchcraft and get to them through the wires, but you'd target them.
So yeah, I'd be the one that's targeting them and killing them, right? Eventually, usually, we either target and kill or target and capture. But during the Iraq War, we were killing these guys. So what we would do with these guys is we would go through their internet traffic, their emails, their browser history, and we would look at the porn that they will watch.
No
and
fucking
we would
way.
take their favorite type of porn and we turn it into an exploit, and we'll send it to them like clickbait. And these guys, every single time they would click it, 100% of the time.
So you're saying you guys invented clickbait too? Because it kind of sounds like you guys.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Like,
yeah. Wow. Yeah. Because their clickbait wasn't even dreamed of back then.
So, and that's so weird when we look at like the places that you're talking about seem so restrictive that like, they could even get porn.
Dude, everyone watches porn, bro.
I know. Like, yeah, that's the biggest fucking, like everybody that gets hung up about it. It's the dumbest thing.
You don't understand. Most of the internet is porn. So when I was,
I was aware of that.
Like,
I was well aware.
So yeah, when I was doing my job, each and every day I would see petabytes of pornography, and eventually I became blind to it. It's like I didn't see it anymore. I just got past it, But it was definitely a culture shock when I got there. And I'm looking through these. There's a system called XT Score, right? XT Score, it's a massive system, a global system that brings in data from all over, from space, underwater, internet routers. There's a ton of data in the NSA. And NSA filters through that data for key selectors, individuals in foreign countries that are known to be bad or possibly bad.
Right.
So it would sift through that data. So it's like the agency would cast a wide net around the whole globe to identify, bad individuals, such as the individuals that caused 9/11. And a lot of this stuff was happening because of 9/11. And most of that was pornography. I mean, most of it is just
that's insane.
How it is, So yeah, we would use that to find bad guys, find out where they live, their exact location, their home address. We would get it through their email records, and then we'll send soldiers to their front door to capture them. And in some cases, we would send drones. I was just gonna say,
or why even send a person?
Yeah, plan B.
You have a sexy dude with a pizza box.
Yeah.
I got extra sausage. How'd you know?
Yeah, how'd you know? Yeah, that's funny. So, what year are we talking, Tony? Get me on a map here.
Like before 2010, right? 2010.
This is about when I was in Iraq. It was 2009. So
right. Okay. So
2008, we were doing this type of stuff.
So we're at the quantum bubble, like the very beginning of the primordial ooze of quantum, right? Exactly. Like it's early days.
Quantum is being birthed now. So I came back. I went to Iraq. I spent about 6 months in Iraq. Captured a ton of bad guys using their computers. Right. I was the first one to do this.
And their babysitter porn. Just don't forget about that.
Hey, can I ask, generally, is there a keyword that I need to avoid?
Do we know if Hamas and Al-Qaeda have different porn tastes?
Are they into pogs?
Yeah. Oh, man.
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here.
So funny. God damn.
Like what?
This is almost too easy to do. I mean,
is there a Hamas folder?
Yeah, right.
On PornTube.
Yeah. Right. Tony's secretly the richest guy on earth because he set up the ad campaigns for all of
sexy infidels here.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, man.
No,
at my heart, I'm a 12-year-old dude.
Yeah.
Boy.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
All right, so we're coming out of Iraq. What's next?
I'm out of Iraq. Next thing you know, so while I'm in Iraq, this is really cool. So the first cyber target that we actioned in Iraq I did it. So I'm doing the raid. We're doing a raid on this guy's house, and there's a drone flying over. The drone drops the bombs, blows the guy up. We're in there cheering. All right, we worked in like a palace. The side of the palace was blown out. We blew it out, and then we moved in, of course. And I was with 10th Mountain Division. So I'm with 10th Mountain Division. We're with the commander, and we're celebrating. We got our first high value target. Next thing you know, the NSA director walks in. Right, this guy just pops up. From DC, he just pops up. We didn't
out
know
of the ether.
That seems very secret government agency right there. You're here?
I guarantee you he wasn't the guy taking his shit while this was happening. No, he just appears out of nowhere. Yeah.
That's government technology that we haven't figured out yet, right?
Yeah,
that's teleportation.
We just haven't invented that. Yeah. That's crazy how quickly we declassify.
Oh, so yeah, it's my work, the way we did things back then. But NSA is very, very spooky, but cyber is not so much. So a lot of the cyber stuff I was able to put into my records and things of that nature.
I see.
So that wasn't classified stuff when it was done.
But a lot of the stuff I did for the agency, you'll never know. Like, I can't talk about.
Well, if anything, that's just good PR for them, right? Like if you go out and start telling the whole fucking internet all the dudes you took out, like the NSA is just like, sweet.
Yeah. Also, that's kind of a deterrent. They're like, look at this dude. This one dude did all this. I don't want to fuck with him.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's less of a big deal than you're like, oh, we knew this secret that no one should have known and did this thing no one's will ever know. You know what I mean? Like I think the gravitas is very different in those situations.
It's not, like, you're not saying, hey, we got a weather controlling device. You're saying we killed a terrorist.
Yeah, and whoever the presidents and generals and everybody, senators and all that at the time, they all wanted fucking credit for it. So they got to declassify that quick.
And right. You hit it on the head, Matt, because when I came back to the United States, I found myself at the White House and the Pentagon.
Sure. Of course you do.
Wow.
They love cyber. But this
are you kidding me? You're like their wet dream, dude. They're like fucking jerking off in the closet.
And for like an 80-year-old white dude, this is brand new. Like they've never heard of any of this.
He's like, did you use the
He's
AOL?
like, wait a minute, hold on. Is it on a rotary phone?
Yeah. How did you dial all those numbers?
Can you help me get into my email?
Yeah.
That's what they would.
Of course.
I'm sure they would.
Obviously. Clearly. Yeah.
So that's I spent a lot of time at the White House and the Pentagon. So the general, Keith Alexander, that came out and saw everything going down, he hired me to work for him personally. So I was able to work at 23. I was working for the director of NSA.
I mean, come on, you're 3 years old. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
That's very cool.
That is insane.
Yeah. It was
23. What was I?
I work hard. I like, I'm almost 40 now. I really enjoyed Iraq, guys. Iraq was cool. Protecting my country was cool. It was difficult, right? It was difficult being away from home, and there were a lot of suicides in Iraq. And of course, we had the enemy we were fighting who were killing us as well. But I would say that was probably the best time of my life. I made some brothers, friends. The same guys from Iraq are still my friends today. We talk every day.
When you hear that and you take it at face value, candidly, it's like kind of a jarring sentence. But like when you think about it for a second, you're like, that actually makes total sense. I mean, like that is a fucking weird situation. Like no two ways about it. Right?
Life or death all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but like when you come out of that and you come out of it the way you did, I think it's pretty clear. You're like, yeah, of course you'd think that. Like that makes all the sense. That's totally logical, right? Like
years and years ago, and I forgot the total name of the book, but it had the title Warrior in it, and it was all these different stories. And a lot of them were saying the same thing, like these bonds, you go through like near death, dangerous people are shooting at me. And now you're forged with those people, and there's some connection that you can't get anywhere else. And to the point where like a lot of guys really like love that.
Yeah.
It's a key moment in forging who they are. Yep. It's kind of a real weird psychology thing. If you haven't, like I haven't done it, but I was like, wow, really? These guys, No, they're there for each other. They've forged a bond that no one else can ever have.
Yeah, yeah, you hit it on the head. And some of our friends didn't make it, so we have beer,
right.
we have drinks,
which puts a different shine on it. Is you're like,
yeah, it definitely hits. So when I came back to the States, that changed my perspective of everything. Right, I saw the world differently. The comforts we have here in the United States, I didn't take those for granted, and I realized that, hey, this stuff is not guaranteed. So I learned a lot. So we're going to talk about health too. So I know this is a health.
No, I see
dude,
the track.
We're here for a great story.
Yeah, we're here for a great story, man. Don't you worry.
Fucking, I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know. You can tell we're zoomed in a little close, but this is extremely interesting for me.
Well, okay, so I'm working for Keith Alexander. He's a 3-star general. He is leading a campaign for U.S. Cybercom to create cybersecurity as we know it. So I'm working for him. There's no cyber, there's nothing. So I'm working with him. I'm with Keith Alexander. So General Alexander is a really cool guy. They call him the Big Cheese. They used to call him the Big Cheese at NSA because he would tell these corny jokes. This guy's brilliant. A lot of the technology we use today, Keith Alexander invented. Okay, this guy's brilliant. So I'm working for him, working with him, and I'm doing briefings, daily briefings, to raise capital, raise money for U.S. Cybercom and the cyber initiative across the United States and, of course, across the world. And we raised $9 billion.
Whoa.
$9 billion. We raised a lot of money. So
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, this crazy amount, right? Because they put me up there. They said, this is Sergeant Lawrence. And they put my record up and they say, this is what Sergeant Lawrence did. Sergeant Lawrence is a cyber warrior. Every person here at NSA is just like Sergeant Lawrence. We need money for cyber. And they gave us money. They gave us a lot.
They just opened up.
Where's this money coming from? Is it coming from budget planning from the government, or are you like literally individual donors?
So yes, it's coming from the government. So the government has different colors of money. Blue money, green money. So blue money would be intelligence community money, CIA money, NGA, organizations like that. And then you have green money, which is the military money. So we will basically get money for different billets, right? NSA has military personnel and they will have civilian personnel. So we raise capital for this stuff. We also raise capital for infrastructure, buildings, even satellites in space for cybersecurity, really cool stuff. We raise capital for drones. So we raise a lot of money. So spent a lot of time with Keith Alexander. He got his 4th star. So, I helped plan everything. I was involved in everything. Got his 4th star. Once he got his 4th star, I didn't see him that much anymore, right? I spent a lot of my time with Chris Inglis, who was the deputy director of NSA. So when Keith Alexander started Cybercom, he was on planes, he was on jets. He had really cool games, you guys. He had the coolest planes. Wood grain, he had these Air Force stewardess. They were just, I'm telling you, it was cool, right?
This guy was traveling.
I traveled with him one time. So but it was cool. The director of NSA has his own personal elevator, which goes up to his office, and it also goes down to a sub-basement. NSA has the largest burn bag, or the best thing to call it is garbage disposal system in the world. The burn bag system goes for about 6 or 7 miles, because everything used to be done by paper at Fort Meade, right? Until the computers popped up. Now, the files and things are on computers, but before then, everything was being done by paper. So that's one basement. And then you go below that, there's servers and things. And then you go below that, there's other things at NSA.
Yeah.
Right.
About how deep are we talking? Like how many? Okay.
Yeah.
Stop poking there.
It's 812.6 feet. Is that?
It's starting to get hot. We're near the core.
Yeah.
Really deep. It's really cool. Really cool.
I bought an Audible book for the elevator ride. If that gives it clarity.
It's not an elevator. It's a water slide.
Yeah.
The first time I actually rode in an elevator was after I left the military, and after
that's funny.
They invited me back in. Keith invited me back in. He was
That's
thinking
funny.
about starting a small business, and I had a pretty successful small business at the time. So he invited me in and asked me questions and things. We hung out and talked. So it was really, the elevator was super. There was all these buttons.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know what they did. Like, I thought the button shot right.
Like a Willy Wonka elevator.
Crazy.
Yeah. Men in Black elevator. You go through the Holland Tunnel and all of a sudden, there you go.
So Chris Inglis. So Chris Inglis is my mentor. He's a very good friend of mine. We still talk today. We talk often.
The 4-star general ghosted you, huh? He's like, nah.
Well, they probably were like, yeah, you're doing this now.
He's like, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I'm past you.
At that time, he was spending all his time with President Bush, bushes, shooting with the bushes.
Yeah, sure.
Bushes, hanging out in the bushes, always with bushes. And hey, George Bush, he's tall. He's much taller than you would think. I thought he was going to be short, but when I first met him, he's like, a little taller than me. I was like, wow. But the Bush.
Were you saying W or the older one?
The younger one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like a short person on TV.
He does. Yeah, he doesn't like, really read.
Doesn't read
now,
tall.
It's the strangest thing. I was shocked. I met Condoleezza Rice. She was really cool. A really amazing person. She's really pretty. Really pretty. I was shocked.
Yeah, I think.
Because she looks all, stern, in pictures and photos. But when I saw, I was like, wow, So yeah, I got to meet all those people by way of Keith Alexander. So Chris Inglis. So when cyber took off, the 4-star general, the director of NSA, was gone. Chris Inglis, the deputy director, took over the NSA mission for the most part, right? So I'm with Chris. We're doing cool things. We're going to the White House. We're going to the Pentagon. We're going across the country. He brought in his buddies from the CIA, because I used to do the cyber briefing. He would bring in the director of the CIA and the deputy director of the CIA and have me brief them on things that NSA is doing. And they were so jealous. They were trying to steal me from Chris.
That's funny.
So it was really cool stuff. So cyber blew up, became a big thing. I decided to leave the military, leave the agency, and start a government contracting company, contracting for NSA, right? So, of course, became a success very, very quickly. Within 5 years, I was the largest small business defense contractor at NSA. I think I had about 200 people working at NSA, which is unheard of. And I had people across the country. So during this time frame, quantum computing. So there was a contract that came out of NSA for quantum computing. This was in 2013, 2014 timeframe. It was called VoxGlow. And it was NSA's early exploration of quantum computing. I bid the contract, and I was one of the winners. So I'm on this contract. I had to hire some PhD types and get them cleared, top secret clearances, lie detector tests, all that stuff. So I talked to some guys at the University of Maryland, got them in the program. I'm going through the contract, I'm working it, and I say, why am I doing this for the government? Like, I should be doing this for me. That's what I said.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just like something just changed in my mind, and I'm just like, I could become one of the richest men on planet Earth with my knowledge and with quantum computing. So, at the time I was making probably $2 million a year. I was making a ton of money.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was making a ton of money. But it wasn't really the government contracting is a vicious cycle, right? Because it takes a lot of money to make the money. And you gotta rebid the contracts every 5 years, every 3 years, things of that nature, right? It's a lot of monotony. I didn't like it.
I've spent $100,000 on GSA certification and have never once gotten a GSA certification.
Oh, man.
It's been. Oh, and by the way, we did it real fast over about a 22-year period. So,
wow.
Yeah, no. The process is excruciating. Like it's excruciating.
And it was a nightmare. I'm working ridiculous hours for people who didn't like. Contractors aren't very popular for most government customers. They don't like the contractors, right? So you're working for people who don't like you, who are making your life miserable, right? So I was,
That sounds like every client. No.
Well, yeah, I decided to start my company, Light Rider. Right, it wasn't called Light Rider at the time. It wasn't called anything. It was a quantum company. But at the time, I said, "Hey, I'm going to start a really cool quantum computing company," and that's what I did. I used my money from VOR to invest into the new company, Light Rider, and that's how I created my light bulbs. I have a lot of cool tech, Matt. So
Yeah,
Matt,
we're gonna get to that in a second, actually.
Like honestly, man, I want to go back 20 more years and just go deeper, but
yeah, no,
we try to keep it about an hour.
We're gonna go into fucking rocket ship land.
All right,
here
man.
in a
All
second.
right. Like I would have listened to this story over 3 or 4 days. So like, let's go.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, okay, so the cool stuff I saw at NSA. When you guys look at my records, I was in charge of this program called the Take Two program. In Take Two, my job, I was a producer, video producer. So I would go across NSA, find the coolest programs, and make a 2-minute video about the program. And then I would put it on NSA network. It's a classified network. Every member of NSA had access to this network. So I did about 30 of these videos, okay? So one of the coolest videos I did was on NSA's Stargate program.
Yeah, this is where I'm like, all right, here we go.
You know, and Matt was hyping you up a little bit. He's like, this is going to be the craziest conversation.
Well, we just had Jeff on the fucking show like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, keep going, Tony.
So MK Ultra. So let's start with MK Ultra. Have you guys heard of MK? There's been movies.
Yeah,
of course we have.
Come on.
So I saw all of those records. Those records, they're bonkers. They're bonkers, like crazy drugs, crazy psychedelics, right? But MK Ultra is what led into the Stargate program. But MK Ultra got shut down because of the drugs and things. It got kind of crazy, so it was shut down. But there was valuable intelligence that came from the program. So the Army over at Fort Meade, Maryland, same place we were talking about earlier. If you drive by Fort Meade, it's off of 32. So you'll see the big buildings and everything, but right on the other side of of 32, there's a one-story brown buildings, right? These are old World War II buildings. And that's where they ran the Stargate program. And the Army, the soldiers, they would be there. And I did training there as well. So when I was preparing to go to Iraq, I would train there. You know, we all knew about the area, but they used to use this place for their remote viewing program. Here's how it would work. The soldiers would go to sleep. They would go in a controlled environment. They would pump them full of like sleeping medicine. They would go to sleep. And when they were asleep, they were viewing things happening in Russia and viewing things happening in China. And they would wake up and they would draw everything they saw. They would draw it out. They would write it out. Now, the problem with the program was the internet didn't exist then. So there was no way for the NSA and the intelligence community to verify anything that was seen.
Right.
Okay? So because of this, NSA had to stop the program, but the program moved over to CIA. And I believe it's still there today. I don't know for sure, but I think it's still at CIA.
Well, so Caroline Corey was on the show and did a documentary called Superhuman. She's working on Superhuman 2, and they actually paired scientists with people to actually quantify visually and in instruments, right, all of the same shit. And then Dr. Jeff was on the show a couple weeks ago, who was the neuroscientist behind the telepathy tapes, which is also super fucking famous for the same reason, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, and all of that, both of those stories came from those remote viewing things. Like that's the genesis of both of these.
Tony, you know, the great thing about that is I took this online course on remote viewing, right? They don't tell you shit about how to do it, but they tell you all about like how much the government spent and some of the big name players that were associated with it. They never mentioned any sleeping medication.
But
it all happened.
But that makes sense. Yeah.
So cool. So the drugs. So Stargate, they didn't. I just want to clarify. There were no drugs in the Stargate program that I know of. That anybody knows. I didn't see any records on that. But MK Ultra, there were a lot of drugs.
Oh, a lot of drugs.
Well,
I mean, that was the whole thing, right? Was that like the use of LSD, right?
Yeah. The whole thing was drugs. That's it. There was no other reason.
That's what it was. It was drugs, right? Now, I was told that it was an attempt to make a truth serum.
The records that I saw at the agency, the NSA has these huge archives. They used to. I think they moved into DC. Like these huge filing cabinets that just go up into the sky basically with old information. So I saw a lot of those reports. I saw reports on like shrooms, crazy things from MK Ultra. Yeah. And then I saw the Stargate stuff, which was really cool. A lot of pictures, a lot of drawings. But I want to leave you with one thing. Cybersecurity, when we first started digital network intelligence, DNI, and what we know as cybersecurity, we were tracking targets that we couldn't see. Right? We were tracking these people on the other side of the world. And we knew everything our targets were doing. Sometimes I knew when my targets were waking up, and I wasn't even on my computer. I just play my target's active, right? And I just go to my computer and boom, he's there, right? So, what we're seeing is an evolution of human beings through, unseen means. And that's where quantum has a lot to do with it. I believe a lot of these things are happening because of quantum mechanics, right? The remote viewing, all these different things. Quantum mechanics is at the core of this, but as Matt would tell you, and Matt and I go through this a lot, quantum mechanics is still very little is understood about it. People really don't know much. Even the big companies, even the large companies you see on TV, you see Microsoft, you see Google, and you would think they know everything about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum computing. They're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars, but they know absolutely nothing. Okay, I just want to let you know that. So, because we had, I had access to these government programs, I know a little bit more, but it's very complex. It's a very complex sector. So we talked about MK Ultra, we talked about Stargate, we talked about US Cybercom. So as we move into the future, gentlemen, we're going to see a convergence of mankind and robotics, right? We're going to see this, and the things that were happening during MK Ultra and Stargate. We're going to see people with abilities with machines that we never thought was possible. Really, really amazing, really cool things.
Are you thinking like the force multiplier of those skills augmented with machinery?
Like that,
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Augmented with machinery. We're going to see we're going to see machines react to some people different than they react to others. Right?
Yeah.
We're going to
see Tom.
No,
I
was kind of like, he's not going to go there. And then I'm like,
listen, I love this because I get to have this conversation once a week with Tony, right? Like Tony and I get to talk about this literally all the time. So like we could have 38 shows and it'd still not be enough to talk about all that you can talk about with Tony. But like, Tony, just because I know we could meander on this a little bit, I just want to kind of, I think it's more interesting to Tom probably to say something like, you just took a huge leap, like a quantum leap, to pun intended, to go from like, oh, I figured out how to monetize this on my own and all this cool stuff, to robots are going to, merge with this and it's going to be quantum that helps allow that. Like a lot happened in between. I don't know that we need to break it all apart, but like, I think a question here is, you obviously have a very unique frame of reference for this. And I think you're right. Quantum is super nuanced and extremely esoteric. We've said this in our private conversations a lot. Quantum and AI and everything, we really are in the imagination age for reals, right? Like this is like, it's not about necessarily the technology. It's about the imagination. And what I love about my relationship with you is that we get to talk about shit like this because you're right. Quantum unlocks every gateway, not just bigger gateways. It unlocks every gateway that will ever exist, ever, full stop.
Yeah.
But wrapping your head around that is the real skill, not knowing how to run a quantum computer. Although that is also super fucking hard to do. And not a lot of people know how to do that either. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right. And I think I just thought of a bridge between, just to kind of make it easier for people to comprehend. And I got to give a little background before I connect it to it. But let's talk about quantum computing. So I'm sure Tom, do you know anything about quantum computing?
No.
Okay.
Let's keep it like even if I do, I don't.
Okay.
Even if I think I do, I
When we
don't.
with this,
Yeah.
this is going to be the expert. Okay.
Awesome.
So the first
Let's
thing
go.
you need to know about quantum computing is none of the quantum computers work. Okay. So that's the first thing I want to, none of them work. Not yet. Okay. But one day they will. One day they will. And what the best quantum computers on Earth, what they do is they take particles of light and they manipulate them, right?
Okay.
There's two primary phases or states that, the particles can be in. So superpositioning, where the same particle could be moving in different directions and doing all type of different things at the same time. And then you have entanglement, where two distant particles are connected. And that connection basically makes them almost the same particle. If you do something to this particle, it happens to this particle. Right?
Look, Tony, I'm an acupuncturist, and I gave a lecture to Walter Reed Hospital on just weird shit, right? And my whole premise of this was we have all these old technologies and medical things that are being proven like thousands of years old, like right, the Ebers papyrus from Egypt. Hey, they knew how to reattach a nose. Like, that's bonkers.
That's crazy.
And then I saw the quantum physics photo of the Tai Chi symbol about two entangled particles moving in the yin and yang position. And I'm like, how the fuck did some dude sitting on a rock 9,000 years ago in China describe something that people found out in 2023?
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Like, so you're talking this, man, I've watched What the Bleep Do We Know like 50 fucking times.
Yeah.
So like, I love this, man. This is like coming full circle for me. This is amazing.
You're going to love this. Okay.
Yeah.
How do we get particles and subparticles to do these things, right? They're moving really, really fast. But we have to cool them down to temperatures colder than outer space. And when they get really cool, then we're able to analyze them and do different things to them. So dilution refrigerators are what are used by pretty much every company, every government on Earth for subatomic particle research, things of that nature. Dilution refrigerators are also used in cryonics. So
Walt Disney, buddy.
Familiar with cryonics? So
yeah, we did a whole episode on Disney's Frozen Head.
We actually called it Disney's Frozen Head. I think. It's going to be a little bit colder than the cryotherapy at the office, but
yeah.
So,
and Tom has a cryotherapy at his office.
Yeah.
So it's funny because around the same time as the MK Ultra, Robert Ettinger wrote a book called The Prospect of Immortality. And that's where he starts talking about cryonics. And gentlemen, the same refrigerators used to freeze human bodies for long periods of time, you guys know how the cryonics works. Someone's dying close to death, they freeze the body, ideally so the person could be revived 50 years into the future, 100 years into the future. So the same machinery that they use for that is the same machinery we use for quantum computing. It's identical. So the same dilution refrigerators are used for cryonics and for quantum computing.
And we're getting cold, right? What is it, like negative 300 Kelvin or something? Or
it's crazy.
It's like super cold.
We're getting near absolute zero.
Yeah,
then I'm assuming
very close to absolute zero. And that's how quantum computing is done. So there is a huge tie between quantum computing and health, and longevity, right? Basically, if we become experts at the dilution refrigeration process, we can essentially live forever. When you think about
it. Thaw you out when we have a cure or have the ability to extend life. Yeah.
I mean, I think I agree with you, but maybe for different reasons, right? Like I think for me, so that is right. You're totally right there. But like, to me, that feels almost like a thought limiter. Like, oh, great, we have the fucking power of the universe, literally, and the coolest thing we could think of is a way to freeze ourselves until we figure it out. Like that seems real.
But I also feel like if you have the access to the processing, you're going to solve the disease process before you even got to put a body on ice, you know?
And I think this is where I was saying earlier, right? The biggest problem with quantum, and here's, let me just throw some tax on the ground right on this one. Like the thing with quantum that's so vexing right now is that there is no practical use case for quantum, period, full stop. Like nobody's got anything. Quantum cryptography, people argue like, oh yeah, cryptography. You get no fucking shit. A kindergartner in the spectrum of quantum would be able to fucking tell you that. Like it doesn't take any imagination of any kind to say that. So let's just assume that's a given.
That's the most linear use you can think of.
Well, and it's also one of the more practical, right, Tony?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it makes the most sense. It's literally impossible to break by anything that's foreseeable in human history or even AI future. It's too vast, right? Even for an AI, it's too vast, right? But that being said, there's only so much security needs a planet has, right? So if that was the only thing we could use these things for, there'd be no reason to build billions and trillions of dollars of fucking quantum computers. Like that would be a waste of time. What Tony and I talked about, though, that got my whole head literally exploding, and quite literally it was one of the genesis blocks for me really leaning into this whole imagination economy concept, was when, Tony, you told me about the human genomes, the synthetic genomes. Can you talk about that for a second? Because I think this is what gets me blazing when it comes to like marrying these things.
Yeah. So even though the quantum computers don't work, they still do really, really cool things. Recently, Google's Willow quantum computer accessed different dimensions and brought in numbers, random numbers.
I was reading about this.
Never seen before, right? Math that never existed. And through this math, they derived that there's probably about 32 different dimensions, right? 32 different dimensions where this information is coming.
Yeah. So this fucking computer proves the multiverse theory and nobody's talking about it. They all just want to be like, 4 septillion years in 90 seconds. Like that's not the headline, people.
What can a human brain, oh God, I'm not even going to reference what the bleep do we know. They have this story. Whether or not it's true, I have no fucking idea. It was a good story though, right? Columbus is sailing over to commit horrible, horrible atrocities. Let's start with that. And no one in the New World has ever seen a ship that fucking big.
Yeah.
Right.
So no one knows. I think there's something out there. And one of the shaman is literally staring at it every day. And he goes, it's a really fucking big canoe.
Yeah.
Like at some point, right? He's like, and then all of a sudden everybody can see it. And I think it's just like that 4-minute mile. So like one of the other things they said was in these quantum experiments, they have a particle that can be seen with the naked eye. And it's in two different, it's in two positions at once.
Yes.
It's there and there. And you go, oh, there's a red ball there. And there's one there. And you're like, no, that's the same fucking ball.
Same ball.
And that should fucking break your mind.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, the scientist gets in his car, goes home and has dinner. Like nothing fucking happened.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've been having this conversation with Tony weekly for like, what, a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, right. And so I guess it's a little desensitized at this point, but like reality is like, and here's why I think everything changes and why I'm so passionate about helping Tony realize this quantum dream is if you figure that out, there are no more rules. There's no more boundaries. There's no limitations. There's nothing but open fucking road.
So
like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's so like it's like so completely nonlinear, right? Like, it's like, oh my God, like, can you imagine moving left, right, up, down in every direction? But then you're like, oh, and there's
movements
shift.
you don't even, you can't even comprehend because we can't even fucking get a control over time.
Now,
holy.
So Matt and I work on. We have a quantum computer that we work on every day.
Yeah,
called Anka 3. Really big quantum computer. It's in California. We have access to it from our homes. So we're doing this stuff all the time, and you don't need a ton of money, and you don't need a ton of people. What you need is AI, and you need access to a quantum computer.
and you need to know a Tony. Like there's also that. Like
Yeah,
let's just put a
you know
fucking
that scene in
asterisk on this thing
you know
here,
that
Tony.
scene in The Matrix when they pull him out and he's like he's gonna pop, and he turns around and pukes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where I'm at right now, man.
Yeah.
Like you can't just say there's like 32 fucking dimensions.
Hold on, no,
and
listen.
not me have a million fucking questions about that alone.
Well, here, hold on. Let me get it back into irreverent health territory, because I think this is where I think having these conversations on a show like this, I think I'm psyched about, because here's what I think is going to happen in 10 years from now. Everything that I'm about to say right now is going to be commonplace, and we can look back on the show and be like, I fucking told you so, right? Like, so here's what happens, right? And Tony, take over here. But Tom, the real quick thing is, we know we can only build models on things we've observed, right? Just we know
Makes sense.
We could draw blood from 100,000 people, 100 million people, 100 billion people, but we still only have 100 billion samples. That's it. Period. End of story. No more, no less. Quantum doesn't give a fuck about how many times you stuck somebody or drew blood or whatever. You don't even have to do a single blood draw ever. Period. You don't ever have to get a needle. It never has to be anything outside of a quantum computer. Why? Because quantum will make up, if you tell a quantum algorithm precisely what makes up a molecule, a gene, a structure of any kind, and you say, make me literally every combination, like just every combination. You know how when they say, oh, the number of cells in the human body is X, and like it would take this long, yeah, quantum computers like, yeah, hold my beer. Like it's like kind of one of those things.
And to add on to what Matt is saying, as long as the quantum computer has energy, and it is running, it will continue to do that task forever, right? Because again, this machine is accessing other dimensions. It's pulling information from other places, right? So it will do it forever. It will never stop. It will never run out, right?
How?
Well, this is the easiest way, math, right? Very, very advanced math.
Okay.
The quantum computers are producing numbers, mathematics, and algorithms that we haven't seen here on Earth before, right? The quantum computers are really no different than a particle accelerator. So you guys, you know, the most popular particle accelerator in the world is the CERN particle accelerator. And it's massive, it's huge, and they're doing crazy experiments on that machine. But the same type of experiments are being done on the quantum computers, right? Same type, right?
Wow.
Quantum computers are much cheaper, much more affordable, much smaller. And
much smaller chance of creating a black hole.
Yeah. Like, hey, we're going to do this experiment. By the way, we might end the universe, but we're going to do it. I'm like, yeah, that seems
small.
There's a very small chance that we might end the universe. And I was like,
yeah, so we should probably pause on that.
Maybe check the math again.
Yeah. Can we get a second opinion on this?
Like when I read that, I'm like, what the fuck? Who's letting these guys do this?
It was Tony's 4-star general friend.
Yeah.
Like, do it.
Just go. Fuck it.
You know, we hear about the AI companies all the time talking about how AI is going to, you know, take over and how AI is going to, no. It's quantum computing.
Sure. Yeah. And
the particle accelerators. These machines, they're taking in so much energy. They're so powerful. They're instruments of power, right? And the AI is just, what are your thoughts on AI, Tom? What have you
you know, so I think Matt described it once, right? We like the number of people that I talk to and they're like, oh, I use AI. And it sounds like they're fucking doing a Google search on it. And it upsets me so much. It's like, I write it pages and then say, all right, now fix that for me. You know, like here's everything I need this to do in one go. You figure it out. And I like it as a tool. I think I was reading something the other day where all of these companies that have AI published some kind of, I don't know if it was a white paper or kind of a general warning about like, hey, now we're seeing like how'd you get to that? And they're like, oh, I used deceit. And you're like, did the AI just say it used deceit? That's a little scary, you know? So, you know, and I had an older guy today and I mentioned that I used AI to kind of like, I did a fun little thought experiment. Can you help me? Can you pretend to be psychic? And then I kind of asked it to undress that and tell me how that got there. And it said, well, I saw you were working on this on the internet. And then, we had a conversation about this. So this is the next logical step, right? It was very laid out. I had somebody call it the smartest toddler that you could ever talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, as the more creative you get, the better paintbrush it is, let's say. And I think that's where I don't think that's where it's going to stop. Clearly, Matt's so much further down that hole than me. But it lets me iterate a shit ton of work very quickly.
And I think that that's what most people are going to experience. But I think to where you were going to with that whole Google comment, right? Like,
yeah.
Most people are still, again, that to me, that's the same thing as somebody saying, I've got all the power of this quantum computer and the best thing I can figure out is how to freeze myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like the same idea. It's like, yeah, okay, that's like one of an infinite number of possibilities and probably the least imaginative one I can come up with right now, actually. Because
after Tony's earlier comments, I'm wondering how there isn't more porn associated with AI.
Well, the porn stuff is just starting to hit now, and I think it's funny it took this long. I mean, we've been at this.
They're normally the cutting edge.
Yeah, it's taken a minute, right? But I, so I guess here.
But this Tony, actually gets for the short answer is that's my level of knowledge of AI, right? Yeah,
he's just waiting for AI porn, is what he's saying. That's what he's
I just need an Android.
Yeah. But like, this is where I think the road diverges, right? Like, I could be the guy who uses Perplexity like Google and watches AI porn and creates my own Netflix shows from a prompt, right? Like, I can do that. And there's going to be a whole lot of people doing all those things, right? I think we're single digit years away from not knowing what your fucking best friend is watching on TV because it doesn't exist. They just made a fucking show.
It's something catered to them.
Like it's a show made from their fucking Instagram feed from that day. Like, and oh, by the way, there's 6 episodes that change every day that you look at Instagram. I mean, God,
we are not going to ever have enough dopamine.
Yeah, no, it's just going to be that. But what Tony's working on is the other track, right? Which you're like, I'm using this to be a force multiplier. Tony, we talk about like synthetic data a lot because I think it's the most imaginative use of quantum computing, like in terms of like what it can do. Tom, imagine, Tesla can only program in obstacles on the road that it knows exist. It can't possibly guarantee a decision in an alien invasion next to a volcano that just had a blizzard.
Well, like, I think even dumber than that. Is it going to be able to tell that like a fucking sofa fell off of a pickup truck? Like, I don't even think we're there yet, right? It's like we think we see something, we don't know what it is. Oh, you hit it.
Right.
With quantum computing, we can get there fast. We were talking about these numbers from other dimensions, right? These random quantum random numbers. So quantum computers and other quantum devices can pull these numbers into our dimension. And we can use those to simulate anything, any possibility here in our reality. So, Matt was talking about the Netflix shows. There's going to be a lot of redundancy with the AI. The AI is being fed human data, human information, right? So we'll only be able to produce human-related information, right? But once you start feeding the synthetic data from the quantum computers into the AI, it will come up with the most amazing things. And there will be no repetition, no repeating. Everything will be...
You just described the Rick and Morty episode of interdimensional cable.
Exactly. It'll be interdimensional cable.
Holy fucking... so, like,
Tony and I don't think we've patented this, but we might want to. Mm-hmm. Quantum computer is the imagination button for AI. It really is.
It is. So this is still twisting me up because, okay, a lot of advanced math. Numbers, like, I understand they're infinite, but how are they different in a different dimension? How are we seeing shit that we haven't?
That's a good question. So the government's actually done an amazing job with this particular thing. NIST has tests, randomness tests, and they certify equipment, and they have tests online. You can just go to the NIST website, you can download these tests, and you can stick in numbers, and the test will tell you if the numbers repeat or not. All right. So if there's a pattern found, and most numbers repeat, you got pretty much 99% of the information on the internet repeats. There's patterns. It's not very random. But you run those same tests on quantum computers, on the numbers from quantum computers, there is no repeating. It's just brand new numbers. You can take the same number. Let's say you get a random number from a quantum computer, right? It's this long. You take it and you repeat it over and over and over again. And you test it and it'll be no repeats. It won't show any repeats, right? That's how this is done, right? It's through testing. There's a lot of testing involved.
Soak that one in for a second, Tom.
Yo, dude, like my AP calculus class did not prepare me for this. Let's just say that.
I was an art major. I took trig. That was the last thing I took right there.
You know,
I can tell you everything you need to know about a triangle.
I don't think cannabis is going to fix this. Like, I really don't.
Circle math, I'm your guy. Don't get...
pi. So pi is a number that goes on.
I had to go step in.
Irrational. Yeah, it keeps going. Yeah.
But we know it's a known number. It's a number that we know. Yeah. Every time you turn a quantum computer on, it produces numbers just like pi, but unknown. We don't know those numbers. And we use pi to keep those numbers in check, right? And those are the tests that the government's created, and they've handed it out for free. Anybody can use this stuff, right?
And any one of the 200 people on Earth who understand what Tony's talking about right now could do this. All 200 of them.
The words he's coming out, the way he's saying it, I get it cerebrally.
Yeah, I hear you.
But there's like still a part going, I don't like. Yeah, I get it. You're saying we haven't seen that before, and on the same token, I'm going, but like. The fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's it. Like I totally understand what you're saying, but
but if you apply that what the fuck that you're feeling about the numbers and you transcribe those numbers to things, words, phrases, music, art, you name it. It kind of like is the shortest bridge that I think that I could even imagine, Tony, right? That would connect the fact that like infinite really means infinite, meaning just trying to think about it means you're probably not right.
But now you're talking Taoism. The Tao that has a name isn't the true Tao.
Yeah.
But and honestly, when Tony dropped that, right, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking my head can't physically hold that. Like, like, hey, ran out of RAM, ran out of processing speed. Boom. No, that's like almost like there's an intentional wall. Like, no, you're not, you can't hold that concept.
Well, it gets so vast, right? My favorite astrophotography target is the Veil Nebula. It's a supernova remnant. It blew up about 12,000 years ago, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's almost a perfect circle. It's got these feathery structures. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. One day I said, I wonder how big that circle really is. Do you know what the number was? Like, I fit this in my telescope frame, right? Now I have a really wide field instrument for this. It is 21 light years from side to side. That is a fucking jaw-dropping number.
That's like when somebody tells me something costs $5 trillion. Like, I have no fucking I might as well throw Monopoly money at it.
Right,
Why?
but when
it doesn't exist in my head.
Right. And so when I say to myself, that distance is 21 light years. Billions of miles. I don't even know.
That's 21 years of the speed of light,
right?
Distance. And
it's like you go, wow, that is an inconceivably large amount of distance.
But you know what I'm saying? It might as well be infinity at that point.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But it's like not,
it's not even.
No, it is an exact number.
Yeah,
and it's not even that big when we talk about the universe, right?
No, it's nothing. It means nothing.
But then you start building that, and you go, well, if that's not that big in the universe, and this shit's pulling shit from other dimensions, which is definitely not the same universe, right?
It's different.
Well, and I like about this too is like we can come up with, let's just say we could sequence every.
I'm gonna get a fucking nosebleed. Something's gonna happen here, physical to me.
Hold on, let's say
like I can't.
Let's say a quantum
Oh my
computer
God.
could eventually sequence every combination a human genome could have, right? Let's say it goes through. That's a huge number. To Tony's point, it's not going to stop. So now it's going to say something like, oh, well, we just went through the carbon-based life forms. Now we have to do it again for sulfur-based life forms.
That's right.
And oxygen-based life forms. Like, you know what I mean? And like hydrogen-based life form. You know, like you could just go through every fucking thing known, you know, out there, and you would just keep doing this over and over and over again. And if you had that in a model, imagine like there is no questions anymore. Like if you put that into an AI model, right? Just a stupid LLM that we have now. And you threw a shit ton of juice at this thing and made those transformers go crazy, right? If you had all that data, there's no questions that don't have answers already. And all of our maladies, like all of our health, our global warming, our microplastics, all this shit, the answer to all of that is here. We just haven't got there yet.
Jesus.
You know, and Tony, one thing we talk about all the time, everything necessary to build the quantum computers was here when the last Tyrannosaurus Rex keeled over and died.
That's right.
They just didn't have it. But nothing new came, not like a meteor dropped down with a bunch of fucking, you know, silicone. You know, like we have the same shit here we did then.
That's right.
And so I don't think it's any different, right? Like every answer to every question we've ever had or ever will have is waiting to be answered.
The smallness I feel right now.
It's appropriate.
Like I had one thing happen at work today, kind of upset me. I was trying to deal with it, try not to get stressed out. And I'm like, nothing in my personal universe means a goddamn thing.
You got to take this journey and then come back. Yeah.
Like, holy fuck.
And honestly, I look at it the exact opposite way now. And again, I've had a little bit of time, but I'd say, you know what, Tony, if we do this right and we bring this stuff to the world, then all that's left is the human part. And that's where it gets super exciting because you're like, look, none of that, you're right. Whatever it is you're talking about today at work definitely did not matter.
Not a problem.
It definitely did not matter. It makes no, doesn't matter at all. It did today in the context of your day, but that day was only the day because we haven't gone through this other stuff yet. So I don't know.
Have you guys seen the new Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Oh no, the new one? No.
New one. It's
no.
Great movie.
Is it? Oh, good.
It's a female Silver Surfer, right?
Yeah. Female Silver Surfer, and she's working for Galactus, this huge being. And the Fantastic Four asked Galactus where he came from, and he says, "I was just like you. At one point in time, I was just like you." Now Galactus is like the size of like a planet. This thing is huge. This guy's huge. And he tells Reed Richards that I was just like you. With quantum computing, gentlemen, we can all be like Galactus. There is no limit to what we can accomplish. Even the components, the dilution refrigerator, right? The dilution refrigerator freezes the human body. Quantum computers freeze reality, right? So we're in a new step. It's much bigger than the AI stuff. The AI stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's fun. You know, Matt and I play around with it. We build our own stuff. It's a good tool, like you said, Tom. But in the reality, it's not a game changer. It's not changing the reality. It's not going to allow us to basically become gods. It just makes our lives a little easier, right? So
it makes the porn a lot more specific. I mean, but yeah, you're right. It's not.
Like you just broke porn for me too. It's like who the fuck? Like we can understand other universes.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who the fuck even cares about
watch
porn? We watch porn in other universes.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Oh.
But you know what? It is once you start like realizing what's on the other side of that, like I do think there has been a significant flattening of my world in the sense that like there's parts that I'm not passionate about anymore because on the other side of this,
I totally get that,
is way more exciting. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to put these things on survival mode right now because this is the real like target.
Yeah, but
right?
that
like, because it's so cool. I mean, like, I mean, look, I'm a creative guy through and through. Tony knows this, man. I'm a fucking throw ideas at the wall, man. I can't live in a world that doesn't have creative energy, and quantum unlocks the literal infinite creativity. Like there's no fucking stop.
You know, and speaking of God, like, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm like stuttering and shit. Like, like the creator God, that if that essentially turns you into that, right? I'm not religious at all. I feel blasphemous saying that, but that's, you have unbridled power at a level that, like, you can't even fully understand in your own little human head.
Tony, what we were talking about, what's that video game all the kids are playing?
Tell Tom about when we had our meeting with the guys from the NSA.
Oh yeah.
Over and tell Tom about it.
Yeah, so we're in a conference room with this company Copt, which I think they're the largest real estate holder of TS, top secret real estate in Maryland, right? So, and it's two guys from the NSA, and they're like older dudes, and I kind of was like expecting to help them with their AOL accounts, but they fucking they schooled all of us. Like they're like two smartest
we
guys
have
like
the
ever.
Spaceships.
Yeah, like,
what the fuck are you talking about?
So what did we send? We sent like the Harry Potter books, right, from one end of the table to the other.
Sent it through light. We sent it
through light. Yeah. So Tony uploads Harry Potter from his computer to a light bulb in the room, and then sends it through light bulbs across the conference table to another computer. And all we did was put our hand out and cover the fucking LiDAR detector, and like the transmission instantly stopped and took it off and it started again. It was like a neat party trick, right? And we're doing all this stuff. And like instantaneously, and maybe I remember this wrong, Tony, so keep me honest here, but the guys from the NSA are like, oh, we could finally have Wi-Fi in our office now. Like it was like, you know,
that was their big dream.
Yeah.
I just transmitted data.
Yeah, no, because they were like, we can't have Wi-Fi routers for obvious reasons. And I was like, you know what? I never thought about it. And he's like, yeah, and the 37 weird character password you have for your home Wi-Fi, if you have that, isn't really going to stop us from getting in. But didn't he say something like the average age of TS data is like 3 days or something, like 72 hours? It's like it was weirdly short. Like, I don't remember what the time was, but he's like, even if you had a laser beam in the parking lot, intercepting the light coming down, passing who killed JFK, it would take 20 years if they had a quantum computer on the other side to decrypt it to even stand a chance of breaking the encryption. So that was enough of a litmus test to be like, oh, well, we could technically transmit internet over all of our lights. And like, that's one of the products that Tony's got over at Lightrider.
That's fucking cool as hell.
It's super cool. And here's what it blows your mind even more is because light is a fingerprint and because he's pumping quantum data behind it. Sorry, Tony, I'm totally stealing your story here.
No, it's fine. Tell them about the quantum. So we send quantum through the lights as well. So the same numbers from other dimensions that we were just talking about, Matt and I sent through light bulbs. Now we're not sending light from 32 dimensions. We're sending light from like one other dimension, right?
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah, but still, like even contemplating other.
You could literally watch a computer screen just fill up with numbers, and it was just streaming.
New numbers, and they've never existed in this universe before. So there's quantum chips. Quantum computers are really chips themselves, right? But there are other types of quantum chips that can produce the same phenomenon, and we put those in light bulbs. So you can use them in your house to train your AI. You can play games with them. You can create the synthetic data that we were talking about earlier.
And what's cool about that too is it creates interest. And this is where the imagination part comes back in. And I'm just going to keep hammering this thing. But because it's light, we could actually include that quantum data in that particular light stream and include it as an ingredient on a public-private key pair.
Yes, sir.
And no one else will ever have known
and
that.
then it gets encrypted at a quantum level into the entire key, right? So now you could randomize the order of the ingredients. You could obviously this light is random. I mean, so it's like basically you're never going to crack this fucking thing ever.
So
right? Like, and if you walk away from that light bulb, it's just like Tony putting his hand over the LiDAR detector. That
And
thing
it's gone.
just stops. It's gone. It stops. And so
It-
that becomes only effective when you have an imagination to say, okay, now we've got this tool. Here are all the reasons why you want to buy it and use it. You know? And that's
I'm fucking broke. You fucking broke me.
Yeah.
But like, so like, let's say do you think in one of these other dimensions, conceivably, this data is being pulled, and there's another being that we can't comprehend that's like, where the fuck did that just go?
Yeah. Probably. Probably every time we turn on a quantum computer, several nearby dimensions are aware of it. So
Right.
quantum computers that we use, every time it's always running. So let me put it this way. So these machines are always running. So every time a quantum computer goes up, it's like it's a blip in the fabric of time and space. It's like a radar
wormhole.
So everybody knows about it, right? Because this machine is interconnected with the universe, right?
But that's assuming you have the signal interpreter on the other side to understand what that signal, right? Like, I mean, I could turn it on and hear a loud boom, but if I don't know what things cause loud booms, I wouldn't even know how to decipher what the boom was.
But
right?
when you're talking about multiple universes and multiple chances of intelligent life, that's
Sure. I mean,
like,
the chances are good that somebody would be able to interpret it, but there's also a chance that it's the fucking Stone Age in one of those dimensions, and they don't.
well, yeah, but like, all of that exists at the same time.
When you guys are thinking about multiple dimensions, think about it from the perspective of time and space, right?
Yeah.
So future, you got past, right? And then you have distances. So, that's happening, an infinite amount of time. So we could, when we turn on a quantum computer, maybe Tom in the future, you're listening to me talk now, and you decide you want to be a quantum physicist, and you create cool technology. You might be the one picking that up, right? There's like so many different possibilities. Like we may be communicating with ourselves. We might be sensing ourselves, right? When I was telling you guys about how we received those crazy signals when I was in Korea, I might have been receiving signals from a quantum computer that I was working with, right? So everything is connected. Things are vast. And this is the world that Matt and I operate in, right?
And I love it. This is why I said I could have 38 shows with this. Well, it'd have to be 37, one for each dimension, I guess.
This is... Yeah, but every dimension has 37.
Yeah, right.
Tony, I don't know how to say this other than I am different after this conversation. And
candidly, if you didn't have a reaction like this, I'd be a little worried about you, buddy.
But like, look, there's going to be a bunch of people that turn into the show, and like Tom and Matt had on some lunatic that was talking nonsense for an hour and 23 minutes because they like it not because Tony's wrong, because like I don't even think it's 200 individuals in the world that can hold this.
Well, there's plenty of people that can hold it, but I think right now, I think there are competing elements here, right? Like element one is knowing how to turn on a quantum computer, right? That there's a
limited access to it. Jesus.
Well, there's a limited access to it. I mean, but there's also a limited number of people who know where the on switch is, right? Okay, so that's like one factor. And then the second factor is programming it. Like you have to actually know what to do with it, right? Once it is on, right? And then they're only in the real world, those guys are only employed with jobs because somebody was selling something, right? Like, so it's, and that's how that normally works. In this particular case, you actually are fighting each one as a new Mount Everest, right? Like, so build a quantum computer, Mount Everest 1, know how to turn it on. Now that's Everest number 2, know how to make anything at all that's useful with it. That's number 3. And oh, by the way, once you've climbed 3 Mount Everest, you actually now have to sell something.
And like, to Tony's point, you also don't have this functioning completely yet.
Correct. Yeah, there's so many problems. Yeah. But that's why I like this topic, because like when, you know, Tony, we spend a lot of time on this show talking about longevity, right? It's you know, it'd be hard. Can't throw a rock without hitting that word, right? And there's good reason for it, man. I mean, you know, people want to live longer, they want to live better and whatever. And everyone's like, oh, what supplement do you take? But I mean, again,
That even sounds boring to me now.
It's super boring, right? Because in the end of the day, the only reason we have to ask that question is because we haven't answered the bigger question, which is how to manipulate us at a quantum level. We talk a lot about vibration, right? Tony, the last 5 episodes have been about vibration therapy. Do you know what that is? I know you know what that is, right? Like, that's quantum mechanics at its fucking most basic, right? Like, it's literally
holy shit.
That's like dumb people quantum mechanics. Like, that's not even fucking hard.
Holy shit. Right. And then we do these amazing interviews with people that are like really out there. They're into something, right? And you realize that they're like, you know, maybe they're standing on a phone book, so they're like they're not even up on a ladder yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can see a little bit further than me because they got a little lift in their shoe. And there's like, then there's the ladder, and then there's a fucking, hey, there's a 50-foot like, you know, thing up in a tree that we can climb to, and then it just never stops getting bigger.
So so that's why, you know, we do have to kind of look at the finish line on this, unfortunately, because otherwise we can literally. I'd love to have you back at some point, but Tony, you know, I'm really appreciative of our relationship and what we've been able to do together. I'm really looking forward to what we can do, but like, most importantly, from a curiosity standpoint, the tie that binds this all together for me is that they're all super creative endeavors, in the sense that, well, how could you support living forever if you had a quantum computer? Well, we could come up with every combination of right cells, right? Like, we would know how to like maximize everything. The only reason we don't know that now is because we haven't had enough time on the planet to like catalog it. It's not because we're stupid. We'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The data is the key. So the more data we have, the more possibilities that exist.
Yeah. So Tony, what do we tell people about you and how to find you, or what do you look, you know, like, what can we do to help sort of further your vision?
Thank you. So one of the best places to find me is on LinkedIn, Anthony Tony Lawrence. Also, you can visit Lightrider at www.lightrider.inc.com. And you can use quantum computers on our website. So you go to our website, create synthetic data. You can create fake bank accounts, fake people. You can create crypto wallets. You can do a lot of cool things. If you've never used a quantum computer before, our website is a great starting point. You can go there, and within about 20 seconds, you can be using a quantum computer and having fun. I mean, it's pretty fun, you know, creating the
It is super cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, it is pretty funny. It's awesome that we have that, and it's just fun to play with from time to time. I show the people this all the time. I'm like, yeah, look, check this out. It's a quantum computer. They're like, what's it doing? I'm like, not much. We're still working on that part, but yeah, I mean, you could create a whole bunch of cool shit randomly. That's neat. And they're like, yeah, okay. And then, but once you get into it, most people end up with the same. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm like,
dude,
yeah,
we got to record a show tomorrow at 11:30. I'm going to be sitting in this position when you log on tomorrow. I never logged off.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh
man.
Well,
listen, Tony, when we get up and running, Tom, we actually have like a potentially cool project that actually is going to be largely health benefiting at some point. So Tony actually would absolutely have to come back to talk about that.
I look, dude.
But we have a cool idea.
What are you doing tomorrow afternoon?
We might be onto something very, very cool, and this is just like the beginning of it. So I hope to have Tony back on as many times as he'll come back on.
Man,
yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
always fun, man.
That twisted some stuff up on me, man.
I enjoyed the show. Thanks, you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Tony, don't go anywhere once we say goodbye here, but thanks, man. Appreciate your time.
All right.
Enjoy the evening, fellas.
Yeah.
Later. Goodbye.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.